Hi guys, Shavik and welcome back to YouTube channel. So today I am going to share one of more companies interview experience to you guys. So that is nothing but Uber. Yeah, so I have applied for Uber with reference only, but I don't think so with reference I got the calls. I have reached out the recruiters to LinkedIn and post that she basically forwarded a link of Codelity platforms mostly as far as I remembered artist links of Codelity platforms. Yeah, like this is the way that I have like reached out to Ubers to basically process the further rounds of interview too. Yeah, so after this after getting the mails, I think there is a timelines of 7 days in which you can at any times you can take the test. So here the problems here basically the time frames in which you have to solve the problems is basically challenging. So I think the timelines is 70 minutes, and within 70 minutes there are four problems was there. So first two problems, I think it is kind of a very easy problems. They are basically want to check your implementations on a particular language. That's it. So you can like need to solve it mostly like hardly like 5 to 10 minutes at max to max case. Within 10 minutes you will be able to solve these two problems. And next two problems, here actually the game changing things is going to be started. Yeah, so the next problems, that is the third problems. The first problems is very brutally you can do like a reverse things on a array, and between reversing for every, so that is an word array, and for every words you have to do certain like even or checks kind of this, and then only you can consider that word, otherwise you can like skip that word, something like this. Very naive. Second problems is kind of like uh, very intuitive only, like big of n square, the constant is under 10 or something. So I got a solutions of big of n square, and that is maximum time complexity, it can go for 100 only, 10 into 10, and space complexity is kind of constant only, and that is going to be get an AC. That I exactly don't remember, but big of n square kind of summations I did. Yeah, so these two problems are very nice. And the third problems here basically they will be given a very lengthy like problem statement. You have to like go through the problem statement. That is actually the major time consuming part. So here I iterate the problem statement twice or thrice, and after that I am able to find out a linked list based approach can be like best suit for this, because there are operations where we have to like we can statically allocate the memory. On dynamically we have to like add some things, and also we have to like remove some things from the given data structure that we are holding. So I solved it with linked list only, and it is going to get an AC on the very first go. But here I am majorly suggest you guys to read like basically create a focus on how you can read the problem statement very first. And if there are very story kind of problem statement, please try to solve story kind of problem statement for sure for before of your like online rounds of Uber at least, because there you are going to get at least one problems of a very big story. And after reading the entire story, you have to identify that this kind of data structure or algo is going to be fit. Data structure or algo is super simple if you are able to understand the problem statement altogether on very quickly. How far like how quickly you can understand the problem statement, you can solve it like that much quickly. If I am assuming like you are solving our daily lead code problems that we are solving on 100 days, no, you are solving that levels of problems like within 20, 30 or 1 hour durations, then you can solve it. Like I am giving the confidence for you. So, and the fourth problem here, actually, I have to say it is exactly the same kind of like similars or the easier versions of problems of a sliding window that we have already solved in our playlist. So that is of a what I remember, that is of a variable size sliding window problems you have to put. So your left and right pointers you have to move in a like strategical way, so that you can for a particular left and right you can calculate the answer, and that's it. Like, but yeah, like variable size sliding window implementation is needs some 10 to 15 minutes time. And if you are going to like consider like if it is a 70 minutes time frame and you have to solve four problems, and your like implementation skills, like implementations or a grip on a particular language was not that much go, then you will definitely get some troubles on these rounds. But yeah, like for our case, like we were able to solve it within like 60 minutes. Within 60 minutes, 10 minutes I remembered I have like remains, and I was able to solve all the four problems and with the full score also. So the score is going to be allocated. There is no bias for score. All the problems has 300 300 300. So the total marks was 1200, and like recruiters initially told me like you have to score like more than 1000 kind of things, and they have partial marking also. So yeah, I was able to solve like all the four problems with 1200 out of 1200 score only, and then the next round is bound to going to be set. Yeah, and the very next round is again a DSA round. So in this round basically this round I remembered is going to scheduled in next week, like in a gap of 4 to 5 days durations, and I got some times to prepare, like basically done the brushing ups of standard DSA sheet that I am basically following. Yeah, so here I have to say, like, although I have gone through tree graphs, DE, all the like major difficult topics that I generally feels to anyone's have to be brushing up before any face-to-face round. So I have also did so, and I am also on the mode of preparations also on that times when I was doing this week. But that not going to help a lot for at least Uber, because they have basically framed their problems with their own. So that is not a very general problems altogether. So you can identify like this particular algo is going to be fit. That is not going to be happening. That is this round again a very long problem statement they have given, a very big story, and I have to identify which algo is going to be fit. So on these rounds, I initially started with dictionary and list based approach, but ultimately the algo that was going to be fit for that particular rounds was a double ended linked list. So basically, if you solved LRU cache based problems, so it is exactly the same things you have to do. So basically we need a data structure where you can basically add some value to in big of one time complexity, and the most oldest value or the most least used value you have to like omit from the data structure which big of one time. So that is I already solved LRU standard LRU cache based problems, and I am directly like after like few hints I need like couple of hints, like that is not going to be optimized, because either your search, either your append, or either your popping is going to be taking off big of it. But interviewer like on every move he was basically stricting me that we need all the operations in big of. So then I pointed out that is the only data structure that is going to be fit for this, that is of LRU cache, that is of double linked list, and similar template I have used of my LRU cache. Yeah, this round after that, like I wrote the exact modular code. So please take a note, you have to write the code in modular way. So interviewer at every point mentioning this, can you break down this entire logic to a separate method? Can you break down this entire logic to a separate method? That you have to be like in like day-to-day activity, when your function's length is going to be more than 10 lines, break it, break some logic, use lambdas. So that is the way you can make your functions in modular and more readables, and don't try to write like a multi-line lambdas. Lambda should be a single line. So these are the major principles that the interviewer was looking for. Yeah, he was on the mode of like writing the codes on my past organization that was on Amazon, and I was able to wrap the entire rounds on a pretty good note. Yeah, and after that, I think on couple of hours only, I got the calls from the recruiter that this round was also like was on decent level, and they can move my candidature to the low level system design round. Yeah, so on low level system design rounds, the problems that they have given, it is a kind of driver management system, DMS, driver management system. So here basically we don't have that like kind of machine coding rounds like other companies organize some machine coding rounds where you have to basically put some coding things on the IntelliJ, and you have to put a running demo of your entire like classes or entities that you are creating, how the data is going to be flow between the entities of a particular like in memory data structures. In memory data structures you can use, we don't have to create DBs and other things. So that is a kind of machine coding rounds, but Uber is not on that note. Uber has basically on low level designs, interviewer was basically looking for like class diagrams, entity levels, interactions, how data is going to be flow on draw.io. We have wrapped this round. So here on driver management systems, we have discussions on all the entities that I am going to be used, the data flows between the entities, and kind of like design principles, solid principles. We have a discussions on solid principles, modularized, readability, extensibility. These principles we have discussed, how we can create the classes, how you can break the functions to a different small functions. That discussions we have it, and like few design patterns that we can fit. So I have proposed 3 design patterns that I remember. So one is factory design patterns, second one is chain of responsibility design patterns, because there are like async operations we have to incorporate there. So chain of responsibility is going to be fit perfectly on that, and like interviewer was also like put it on a very thumbs up of that how I can fit a chain responsibility of the entity's data flow of a particular entity to 3 or 4 parallel calls of an entity. So on that part we have a very in-depth discussions, and interviewer was like very satisfied with the answers that I have provided. Yeah, and then I have put the like builder design patterns that I basically generally preferring when you have to create some immutable objects of throughout your all throughout all the like code base altogether. So builder design patterns is like best fit, and like initialize the object is I personally feels builder is the best of that, and which was also fitting to our requirements also. Yeah, like majorly these three design patterns we have the in-depth discussions. So we don't have the discussions like I have mentioning the design patterns and not like this how it is going to be work, not like this. So I have to fit why this design patterns is going to be fit for our driver management systems of that particular entity to data flow. So I have to prove why this particular design patterns is going to be best fit for our use case. So you don't have to, if you have trying to put your like already known knowledge like this, it will not work. You have to put why actually this design patterns is going to be work perfectly for that particular our use case. Yeah, so on this round also I was confident enough, like I have provided my best, and interviewer was kind of satisfied and with all the answers. And I think after, and yeah, like with this note we have wrapped this round. No more further discussions, major discussions, only the functional requirements of the driver management systems. And yeah, so after I think this round 2 days I think between there were weekends on it. So after 2 days I got a call from recruiter that this round also like went well, like we got a strong hires for this round also. Your next round is going to be a high level system design. So like I already gave some high level system design rounds on some other companies also, but I already aware of how in-depth discussions that we already have it on low level design rounds and on HLD rounds. On that level in-depth discussions I need a good preparations. And yeah, within 1 to 2 days I tried my best to go to all the like notes that I was basically following for high level design rounds. So I have went, and after that I on Monday I remember that the round was set on February somewhere on that day. Yeah, so on that rounds the interviewer is like a super senior architect of Uber. Like he was like as far as I remember, he was kind of like 18 to 19 years experience on, and within Uber he was working from more than 12 years with tenure. So he was a super senior architect kind of roles on Uber. Yeah, so I I was like I know what is going to be happen, but yeah, I set myself in the mode that I will give my best to what I know. I will put all the things to the plate to the interview. Yeah, so the interviewer put the questions that is of extensibility of the last rounds that we have had, like of driver management systems only, but on DMS driver management systems we have only functional requirements discussed on the last rounds. But on these rounds he was basically put some highlights on some non-functional requirements, how we can improve like scalability, then mostly some scalability between cap theorems like consistency, availability, and partition tolerance, which of the which we can take a hit and which we don't have to take a hit, and why so. So these like very in-depth discussions. One is cap theorems, another one is like for scalability, third one is I remember that we need to put some LRU cache, not LRU cache, like kind of cache things, and like how our distributed cache is going to be fit to our particular applications. And there is not like a how distributed cache is going to fit for our applications. We have a discussions how actually a distributed cache altogether is working on a high level. So we have discussions on that. So in this round I feels like how a particular individuals have knowledge for every technologies, everything. Then we have like serverless, like stateless, serverless, async workflow orchestrations. So there I have already worked on AWS step functions. So we have a discussions of AWS step functions. So on step functions, how activity workers is actually working. So he was actually have in-depth knowledge on every cloud services, every like already provided open source high level components that we are generally fitting to the applications. He has knowledge for everything, and he know like exactly working principles of every technology that I was basically mentioning, and we have a very cross-cutting, very debatable discussions on this round. Yeah, and post that we have discussion on state machines. We have discussions on SQL versus no SQL, which database is going to be fit. I put no SQL as a DynamoDB because I have like in-depth knowledge of DynamoDB I have worked on. So they are also like why DynamoDB, why not Azure Cosmos is going to be fit, why not Cassandra is going to be fit. So like everything. I not like that much knowledge on like other NoSQL cloud provider database. So he was not satisfied of all the answers, but like I tried my best to put the things on the plate. Then we have discussions on like quick providations of static contents. There I have put CDN, that is of content delivery networks. Then he was typing on content delivery networks on the principles on like low level how actually content delivery networks is going to be work. So yeah, like we have discussions on everything, but after that, like I personally feels like I not actually hit the satisfaction point which he was basically looking for, and it's kind of quite difficult, man. Like when you are going to giving an interview to a like senior architect or like a 20 years plus industry experience people, then he should be like on next bar, like which all the answers you are going to be put, he was on the next bar of top of that. Yeah, so like these rounds I thought I can be improved, but as per my knowledge, I think I have done my best to give all the answers which I know, and which I don't know I will get back with the proper like study. Yeah, so and after that with I think on next day itself on morning I got the calls from recruiter that this round is kind of a lean hire, and we are not able to move the candidature for the senior software engineers role that you are going to be looking for, but we got a very strong hire for you as an SDE-1 hire at Uber. But yeah, like I'm kind of like happy. Yes, I cracked Uber, but not on that note that the roles that I was looking for on that roles I have cracked it. And I have like already offers from other MNCs for senior roles, like on cars and Walmart and other companies also on that particular times that on senior roles, and the main reasons which I was looking for the switch from Amazon is basically going to get a senior roles for sure, and I am not going to get an SD1 role for the next organization that I am going to join. So that's the reason I not basically put myself on a SD1 role for again like 2 to 3 10 years, so that I am not going to be looking for, and yeah, like interviewer basically like recruiter also told me that if you are interested for SD1s, then we have to like give one more DS rounds, because for SD1s I think the rounds are basically have online rounds. Online assessment round is common. The second round is going to be a DS round. Third round is also a DS round, and fourth round is a like low level design round. So all the rounds I already have it. Only the this round, that is of instead of a DSA, for senior roles they are basically taking an HLD rounds. So they are basically looking for another DSA rounds, and post that they can mostly do some hiring manager small discussions or HR rounds. Anything that is going to be a like always you are going to make it, but the other rounds is actually where the most of the candidates are going to be rejected. Yeah, so I already is not on the taking SD1 roles to Uber, and I mentioned the sense because it is not making any sense to utilize companies' resources which you are not going to take, not going to be in. So that is not going to make any sense, and everyone has their times well. So yeah, so that's the reasons I told the recruiter that yeah, I am not interested for SD1 roles. I am on my current careers. I am sure looking for a senior roles for sure. So we can wrap the interview on that particular point itself. Yeah, so that's all about my altogether interview experience with Uber. But like the bonus tips that I am definitely want to share with you guys. The first is you have to be prepare yourself with story readings kind of problems in the DSA. You can find it like some top coders or A to Z DSA sheets. I have basically found some like good problems on A to Z. Coding India's also some problems on like very storytelling kind of problems. So basically, please make your hands on a kind of storytellings, like long story readings kind of problems on for DSA. And out of that, you have to find the data structure and the algo. So these kind of problems, you have to be like, please do the brush up before of like applying for Uber. And second one is speed. Speed is actually, you have to need to clear the online assessment of them, because like 4 problems, you have to get the full marks of them. I think 1000 is like out of 1200 is 1000 is quite challenging. So you definitely need some good speed to clear this round. So please be work on your speed, storytelling kind of problems. And third one is like in depth. Which of the technology you know it in depth. If you are mentioning that I am going to use a chain responsibility design patterns, I am going to use a factory design patterns, I am going to use a builder design patterns, I am going to use a singleton design. Like this way, it is not going to be happen for at least Uber. So I actually I most like this entire interview rounds of the Uber. So basically, the people who are working at Uber, I really like how in depth they know, how in depth they are doing the cross questionings. Not I am stating in terms of like high level design rounds only, on low level or any DSA rounds also. Like how in depth discussions we have, like every lines of code or every principles, every solid principles, every design patterns that I am mentioning, how it is going to be fit. I have to give them the satisfactions in kind of writing pros and cons. So if I am going to state chain of responsibility is going to be set here, I have to be set with at least 3 pros and at least 1 cons. So every approach you should have some pros and cons. So you have the clarity. It is going to be fit and it has at least 3 pros, and it should have less number of cons and at least 1 cons. So it's bound to be. So this level of clarity you have to be make, like when you are doing to study your low level designs, or also on DSA, like every lines you have the clarity why you want to do. So that's the reasons, like which the videos we are making on DSA. So we are making every lines time complexity, space complexity analysis, because that actually I have faced, I have give the clarity on that levels, and then only this particular top product based company's interview are going to be satisfied. So that's the reasons we are making the videos on that much clarity, like every time and space complexity we have that level of clarity we are going to put on every video. And this all about most. And if you are going to apply for senior roles, then I will definitely suggest you guys, you should have to go to some like research paper also of a particular technologies that you are going to propose them, because like they should have like before of you, until you have like on very deep research level analysis of that particular topic, because you are going to like put your thoughts in front of a senior architect, like super senior architect. I have to say. Yeah, so that's all about on high levels the round I have at, like how the questions that I have faced and how I have approached, and bonus tips also I have put. And I think this video is going to be help you on your next interview for sure. And if that is so please do subscribe to our channel, and please share the videos to your friends who are also like preparing for top product based company, and they are also going to get how actually have to like which actually things we have to focus on a actual product based company's interview. And please turn on the notification so that when we are going to live to our next video, you'll get the notification as soon as possible. So that's all about my Uber experience. So that's it guys, that's it for this video. Next meet with another video. So bye guys, bye.